Simple living is made possible by Smead, a woman-owned business keeping you organized at home and work since 1906. Smead. Organize your work, simplify your life.
Current temperature sitting at 62 degrees with the wind out of the southwest at about 9 miles per hour. 1/1600ths of an inch of rain has fallen. Now, when we look at your weather almanac officially for the day, we ended up picking up 1/1300ths of an inch of rain in Mason City. 72 degrees for Mason City, Charles City, cooler across southern Minnesota, mid to upper 60s. And the rainfall totals, lesser amounts in Rochester at about 300.
Richmond. This 1-2 punch generated enough fuel for one gun-type bomb. But if, as military strategists thought, it would take more than one bomb to break the enemy's will, then it was crucial that the upcoming test of the new plutonium implosion bomb work. All this uncertainty only served to heighten tensions at Los Alamos as scientists and engineers prepared for the first detonation of an atomic weapon. If the implosion design was successful, it might bring an end to the war. As a substitute for copper, which was in short supply during World War II, the U.S. Army borrowed almost 15,000 tons of silver from the U.S. Treasury to wind into coils for the Calutron's electromagnets. The Manhattan Project will return on Modern Marvels.
My trigger fingers are getting itchy and I need to blow something away. I'm raining down some serious firepower.
Gunny flies through the history of helicopters on Lock and Load, R. Lee Ermey. Tomorrow at 9, only on History.
This is Good Wrench. Here we dedicate ourselves to the great GM brands we sell. We can do the small things, the big things, just about everything. And now at participating dealers, get AC Delco Durastop ceramic front brake pads installed for $74.95 or less after $25 mail-in rebate on most GM vehicles. Good Wrench service, inside your GM dealership. Find your participating dealer and complete offer details at goodwrench.com.
Once a day, you can help support your immune system. Once a day, you can get almost 25% of your daily recommended fruit and vegetable servings in one 8-ounce glass. Perhaps once a day isn't enough. Florida orange juice, healthy, pure, and simple.
Here's some food for thought from Smart Balance. People are getting wise to the fact that zero trans fat on the label doesn't always mean zero. How do you really know? Look at the ingredients. If any of the ingredients say partially hydrogenated, that means trans fat. Put it back. Try Smart Balance Buttery Spread. Of all the leading brands, only Smart Balance is made without partially hydrogenated oils. Smart Balance, as close to zero trans fat as nature allows.
Do you wish you could lower your mortgage payment? Do you wish you could take advantage of today's great home buyers market? Then here's some news you should know. Recent government actions have made it easier than ever to refinance or buy a home. In fact, there's never been a better time. Answer these questions to find out if the changes could help you. 1. Have you been unable to refinance in the past? New government guidelines on FHA loans are letting homeowners refinance with less documentation and no appraisal. With one quick call to Quicken Loans, you can find out if you qualify. 2. Do you need a low rate on a jumbo loan? Right now, our rates on jumbo loans are the lowest they've been in years. 3. Do you wish you could afford a new home? Today's low rates and home values make this the best buyer's market. We can get you pre-approved in minutes. Don't miss out on these great low rates. Call Quicken Loans today. Our quick and easy process can usually get your loan closed in less than half the time of other lenders. Call Quicken Loans today.
100 potato chips or 100 Pringles. Both cost the same, but only the new Pringles Super Stack can makes everything pop. Same cost, but a lot more fun. Everything pops with the new Pringles Super Stack can.
There's no way to hide it.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested.
70% off at Joseph A. Bank. All signature suits, signature gold suits, even signature tuxedos, 70% off. Consider poplin suits, stays cool suits, even signature sport coats and blazers, 60%.
And it furl back down.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Put the
straightening my
through.
pin up so it's lined up. And then I will set that pin in. And I have lined the fabric up at that point.
Now I found another good place.
Okay,
It's kind of the little crux of the hockey stick. So I'm going to put my pin in that spot. And you know, once you get one place lined up like that, they start lining up better.
Right. It gets better as you go across.
So I'm going through that little crux of that hockey stick on that layer. I think that's layer 4. And I got to adjust it down a little bit. And these flat pins are great because they're real sharp. Okay, now I'm going to kind of shake it in place.
And set the pin.
And then we'll kind of furl. That's looking good.
That smooth. And we would continue down the length of the fabric to get those layered. And the concept now is that our pennants are all 6 right on top of each other. Our hockey sticks are all right on top of each other, so that when we start cutting pieces from this fabric, we're going to have the same shape occur on all 6 pieces. The football is going to be the same place on all 6 diamonds when we cut.
Right. If you could see through your fabric, you could trace right through, but you can't. So the pins are a great way to align all 6 layers.
And you could take your template and cut one fabric with one layer with the football there, and then try to remember exactly how you had it and move it to another place and cut it again, but this would not be fun.
This is much quicker.
This is much quicker.
So we'd continue till we had our whole band of fabric, and this worked out well that the repeat wasn't very deep, because it makes a very manageable hunk of fabric to cut from.
But your fabric your repeat may be up to 14 or 15 inches in length, and you just have to look at your particular fabric to see where the repeat is, cut. If you have an 8-pointed star, you would need to cut 8 repeats and have 8 layers that you're lining up. Since we're working with a 6-pointed star, we just need 6 layers.
Here's another neat fabric. Turn it this way. This happens to be a Halloween fabric. We know all of you really like Halloween and like novelty prints, and this is a really cute one. It happens to be a stripe, and we've already aligned this fabric. We can take a look at this little goblin
up here. Through his teeth.
Through the teeth of the goblin. So you can see this flat pin, and you're going to see how great it is to use these flat pins when we start cutting. And so the little goblin, he's kind of peeking over here, but you can see that his little teeth have been pinned through on all 6 of these layers.
And stripes work very well for this type of design, particularly if they have a lot of different colors in them and a lot of different motifs. So the next thing we need, Marianne, is our diamond shape that we're going to use.
And once you have a template ready, and we like these acrylic ones because
so we can rotary cut.
They're factory made, so we know they're better than if we traced a pattern. But you know, you can audition this on this fabric and kind of get an idea of like these are larger motifs. Is a little, I don't know, is it a little puppy dog or a kitty cat? Is an angel? He's an angel. So we can cut right out of there, or we could cut along the pumpkins. Where should we cut?
Take your pick.
Okay, I'm going to make Swiss cheese out of this fabric.
Swiss cheese this. And so rather than cutting strips and cutting the strips into diamonds like we so often do, we're going to cut around the template.
Okay.
And we'll be cutting holes in our fabric.
Yes, and you just can't let it bother you.
And sometimes you just have to cut some, take a look at them and go, that's neat, or not so good, better try something else.
Well, even though
So we'll see if you get a yay team or a not so good.
Go back to the, okay. And even though this is coming right out of the middle of the fabric, you could cut a lot of them close to each other.
Right, and sometimes you need to kind of cut, and you may need to use scissors to kind of help separate that.
I think I need some scissors in there.
Yeah, let's kind of, because you've got a lot of layers that you're working
Well, and
through.
also I was trying not to go too far, you know.
Right.
And
I'm going to come in and kind of snip.
Yeah, there's just a couple little places there.
Yeah, places it's sticking, and that's a lot of layers to cut through.
An 8-layer would be, you'd really want to put a new blade in.
Yeah, you got to put a little pressure on. Let me just snip right along here.
Okay.
All right, so
like we said, Swiss cheese.
One layer I missed. Okay.
So there's the hole in the fabric.
Now you want to see if you got
Yes,
something
yeah.
nice?
Okay. So we can lay this out like this.
Ooh,
and I think I'm going to like this
what's happening at the
because
center.
it's going to make this spinning star in there, which is very neat. And the little angel cat is going to be, that's very neat. Now what's really cool about this is you actually have two choices when you cut a diamond, because we can do it this way. We can also, you want to spin some of them around for me? We can turn them around. Oh, and this is really neat too, because see, it makes, now some of that's going to go into the seam, but I think you'd still get a little star at the middle. So that's really fun.
Let's look at some other effects that we got from this particular stripe fabric.
These were all made with the same novelty stripe, and it's just amazing how, you know, where those dark areas are, you've got dark points. Each block is different, but it's all the same fabric.
Well, I think it's a lot of fun to look at how it works. So let's talk now a little bit about how you would sew the diamonds together.
Okay, here's another set.
And when you start sewing these, first you want to lay them out the way you want to sew them.
Decide on your arrangement. Okay.
So we can continue them around. And we have 6 pieces that are going to come together at the center, and we're going to sew the 3 pieces together to make a half, the other 3 pieces to make a half, and then join our halves. And we'll press our seam. We're going to sew across the middle on this, and we'll press our seam open where we join the halves. But at the outside edges, we're going to be setting diamonds in to create that hexagon. So we would have pieces like this that will come in around the outside. Anytime you're going to set a piece in, at this edge, we need to stop our sewing in 1/4 of an inch from the end so that we can set this green diamond in. So let's take a little ruler. Let's flip these 2 pieces over, and you can mark for me where this corner is where I need to stop sewing.
Because you've got to quit sewing there so that that area is left open. So I'm going to put my little ruler on here. Right there.
You know, and I've never done one of these, so I'm kind of excited about it.
Neat. You've done plenty of diamonds.
I've done lots of diamonds, but I have not, you know, to me it was exciting to figure out how to set the repeats. I had cut them 1 by 1 in the past, which was not my idea of a good time. And cutting through 6 layers was difficult to get the rotary cutter through there, but it still beat trying to match up all those. So now I'm going to start at the center of my star.
And you can go raw edge.
And I'm going to sew off my little scrap here. And I can sew raw edge. And when I come down this way, we've marked with a pencil where my stopping point is. And when I get there, I'm going to stop with my needle down.
Pivot around.
Pivot around. Make a couple stitches forward. And that is, in essence, back stitching and locking that stitching. Then I'll bring the needle up. And that will join
1 pair.
Yeah. Now, if I'd been clever, I'd have retrieved this and sewn back onto it.
Yeah. Now, we'll want to mark this little corner on the green one, too.
Right. So here are 2 pieces.
So you'll know where to stop.
Where to stop when I set that in.
There you go.
So we open this up, press to the side, and our green piece is going to go in here. And I think we'll just kind of show how we would do this. We'll flip this over and pin
that pin
from
match.
this point over to the point where we stop stitching on the other side. So I just kind of need to, oh boy, I got lucky.
Good.
I hit it right off the bat. We put a pin there. And we can just line up this edge, and we would sew from the raw edge.
Because that's to the outside of the block.
Over to the pin, back stitch. Then we'll just bring it around to the other side, do exactly the same thing, and set those diamonds into the outside of our star.
And here's a completed block. And as Liz was saying, we would make a half star and another half star, press those seams closed, and then when we join those 2 halves, it's a good idea to open the seam out.
And you can do some of that setting in when you're at the stage of having some pairs together, or wait till you have your whole star together and then set in all 6 diamonds around the outside.
Let's show a really cute little table topper that would be great for Halloween that we use this very fabric to create.
Isn't that fun?
It's really cute.
It's not sophisticated like Luminosity
No.
Stars was, but it has an energy of its own.
Every block was made from that same striped fabric, and then a coordinate used for the green pieces at the outside edge of the stars, but an orange fabric used around the star pieces for the very center block. It's really terrific. And let's just take one more look at Jerry's quilt on the wall. That's such a departure from this one, and so absolutely beautiful.
You know, this is an example of where the fabric and the choice of fabrics really makes the quilt, because those fabrics are so sophisticated, and then when they're cut very specifically like that to achieve these kind of stained glass or kaleidoscope effects, it just makes an absolutely spectacular quilt.
It's stunning. Grab a pencil. Tips and other useful information coming up next.
Our first tip today is a suggestion for how to keep track of your needles. It's from Fern Nicolaisen from Cherokee, Iowa, who says that when she's quilting at a large frame or doing a lot of hand sewing, she threads several needles and then puts them on a magnetic strip. And this is just an advertising magnet.
Get it free.
Right, came free. And she puts her needles on there to keep track of them. She says if she drops a needle, she can swipe that magnetic strip across the area and it'll pick up the needles and makes it easier for her to find a needle also. So thank you very much, Fern, for sending that tip.
This idea comes from, excuse me, from Mary Lou Doyle, and I'll just put this out here. She says that you can cut a strip of the Glad press and seal film and wrap it around a spool of thread to keep the thread from unwinding. She says be sure and fold back the little leading edge so that it's easy then to unwrap.
Oh, that is really a good tip, because there's nothing worse than having a thread drawer and having all those loose ends tangled up, and thread is expensive. And it really would keep it organized
We
nicely.
have a drawer like that, you know.
Oh, yeah, we do. We've got several things like that, actually. This tip is from Joanne Shaw from Humboldt, Iowa. She says when she's making cardboard templates, she uses 2 different colors of poster board. A darker color for her lighter fabric pieces, and
a light color,
for her light ones. So she has 2 different colors to help her keep it straight. So thank you, Joanne, for that.
Here's a neat idea, a real economical way to make yourself a little wooden iron, we call them sometimes, but a little finger presser helper. And this is half of a wooden clothespin. So she uses it as a wooden pressing stick, and that's from Eva Couch from Gering, Nebraska.
And you could have a pressing stick for your friend if you gave them the other half of the clothespin.
That's right. Here's one more from Olga Lair, David City, Nebraska. She says you can make a little tape handle to put on your template to help you move it around on your fabric.
Oh, that's really a neat
clever.
idea.
Isn't that neat?
Very clever.
So thank you, Olga, for that great tip, and to all the others who sent tips and the visual aids to go with them. We really appreciate that. If you'd like to share your quilting tips with us and with our audience, please send them to Tips, Bonds and Porter's Love of Quilting, P.O. Box 171, Winterset, Iowa, 50273. And if we used one of your tips on a program, we would love to send you a 1-year free subscription to our magazine, Love of Quilting.
Join us again soon on Love of Quilting.
Bye.
Projects and tips similar to those shown on this program can be found in Fons and Porter's Love of Quilting magazine. To order a subscription of 6 bi-monthly issues for $19.97, call 888-985-1020 or log on to fonsandporter.com.
Funding for Fons and Porter's Love of Quilting was provided by Bernina, open to a world of imagination. American Professional Quilting Systems, APQS, offers a full line of hand-guided quilting machines made in America's heartland for America's artisans.
Moda Fabrics, fabric for today's quilters created by industry designers. Moda Fabrics, bringing you new trends in quilting. Available at quilt and specialty stores.
The Maytag cordless iron. Nothing should get in the way, not even a cord. Made with quilters in mind. Maytag. Depend on us.
Additional funding provided by Hewlett-Packard, Omnigrid, Sulky, and Sylvia Design Sewing Furniture.
Funding for this program has been provided by the Town Square Quilt Shop, located in Lake City, Iowa, offering a selection of fabrics, patterns, quilting notions, and Thimble 80 thimbles for the beginner as well as the experienced quilter. And by the Quilt Block, featuring Bernina sewing machines, fabric, books, patterns, and quilt accessories. The Quilt Block in West Des Moines, a place to pursue a quilter's dream.